So looking at the diamond notes, just if tomorrow you're looking for the podcast earlier in the day, probably in the morning, look for the diamond notes as well, where we're talking through some of these standout prospects from the week before that didn't earn the player of the week or pitcher of the week honor. But a guy that I wanted to touch on, just looking through these submissions, was Trevor Ames at St. Joseph Ogden, a guy that we've always seen as an arm, or at least I've seen as an arm, really liked on the mound. But he just continues to hit this year for the Spartans. He's a 2026 going to Morton. He went 8 for 13 on the week, had 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 9 runs scored. And then on the season, he's hitting .467 with 9 homers, 48 RBIs, 34 runs scored, and 10 doubles. And then quickly, I probably should have talked about this at the beginning, but on St. Joseph Ogden, for anybody that saw the Pat McAfee show yesterday, they had an offensive lineman at St. Joseph Ogden pop on the show and commit to Oregon yesterday. And I saw they had a picture after, and I saw like Logan Rosenthal in the picture, some of the baseball players from St. Joe Ogden. So just cool to see a small town Central Illinois kid committing on a show like that. And he's a 4-star offensive lineman, so he's a pretty big time prospect, I think, on the football field.
Gavin, I saw that as well floating around social media or something. I didn't see it on the McAfee show. And it got me to like search him, and I want to say I wish I would have written this down, but he's like 6'7" or 6'9" and 300 pounds.
He's massive.
Like, I just could not believe that this high school guy here. I mean, there's clearly others, out there like that as well, getting recruited for Division I offensive line, but that is a monster of a human being.
They were showing clips of him in game, and the kid just destroys the defensive line there. Like, I don't know how anybody gets past that kid. And I don't know what what level they're at. I don't know if they play in a 2A or if they have like a 3A, 4A school for. I don't know how that works. I know there's a ton of divisions in football, but
out of the 8A, what St. Joseph Ogden would be, they'd probably they'd have to be like 3A or 4A maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. I might have to look that up here.
Either way, that kid, I feel bad for the defenses that have to deal with him down here in this area. But another name here from Forreston, Kendall Erdman, 2026, 10 for 14 on the week with 3 homers, 3 doubles, 13 RBIs, 12 hits, and this was in 5 games last week. On the year, he's hitting .400, has a .505 on base percentage. His OPS is .1236, has 11 doubles, 5 homers, 21 RBIs, and 36 runs scored. So if you guys got anybody else, feel free to get in here, but those were just a few I wanted to touch on.
I just have one that caught my eye, and this has kind of been a guy I've been high on, and just some of the looks I've had of him over the last couple of years. But Austin Wingy over there at Lockport had a big game against conference foe, and they were ranked Lincoln Way West last week. After he had not the best first inning, gave up a couple runs, but went on to pitch the rest of the game and only gave up 1 base runner after the first inning. His full stat line was 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 12 strikeouts. Against that lineup, to me, just kind of says a lot about the quality of stuff he had that night. In 2 walks and 2 hits. So, want to shout out Austin. Obviously, Lockport's been having a great year so far. Been a mainstay inside our Power 25, and Austin's a big reason why.
I got a couple here. I don't have the 2 listed that I see by Tyler's, but I was going to call out a couple higher level guys that I know, and one is Jory Crocker. 2026 at Willowbrook, committed Arizona. Had a big week for Willowbrook. I mean, Tyler was talking about them. They enter the Power 25 for the first time. He went 10 for 14 with 6 extra base hits, 3 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 1 stolen base. And then Terrell Hampton Hall, he's a freshman catcher for De La Salle. He went 13 for 16, good for an .812 batting average, 4 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs. to do that in high school baseball is impressive enough, but to do it as a freshman really stands out to me. I mean, he is ranked in our top 5 in that 2029 class, a guy we really like, not only with the bat, but love the defensive actions with him as well. The hands, the way he presents pitches. I'm really, really high on Hampton Hall's future there. And then Johnny Louise, he's an uncommitted corner infielder for Montini. Went 7 for 11, 6 walks, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 7 runs scored. Physical right-handed hitters, also really good on the mound. He's a guy that, I know we need to get out and see Montini. They got a few guys that are, of note for us to see, uncommitted prospects that are definitely, higher level caliber college players. Rocco Triolo. Man, we talk about Lincoln Way East. They've been in the top 3 in our Power 25 now for the last handful of weeks. They're getting really, really good pitching, but they're getting a handful of standouts with the bat as well. And junior, uncommitted catcher outfielder Rocco Triolo is, one of their standouts so far this spring. I had to look up the stats because I noticed in our daily roundup on May 9th, he went 3 for 5 with a double, a home run, 3 runs scored, 3 RBIs, and a win over Joliet West. I knew he had been leaving the yard. I felt like every time I looked up, he had a home run. So I just wanted to check his year-to-date stats. He's hitting .422 with 7 doubles, 9 home runs, 28 RBIs, 9 walks, and only 7 strikeouts. So that guy to me should be certainly sought after college prospect still on the board here in Illinois. And he's a guy I know that, like, when we're talking about the senior future games and tracking down some of these 2027s that are still uncommitted, you talk about the Johnny Louises, the Rocco Triolos, like they're certainly on our list to go see and go cross-check and then cross-check all these other 2027s that are uncommitted and fill out this roster that we're going to bring down there to Lake Point. For that senior future games, it's an Illinois and Wisconsin squad. They call us Team Heartland. So there's some dynamics there with, hey, is Wisconsin really strong at certain positions? How's Illinois? Like, what's deeper? Who should we bring? Those conversations are constantly ongoing throughout the spring and summer, but those are just 2 names that are flat tearing it up that are definitely on our list as follows going into that event, and then should be follows for colleges going into the summer.
Couple guys I also forgot to mention earlier. Cameron Lawson, a 2026 at Quincy. Big shout out to him. He has 34 stolen bases currently, which is a school record at Quincy. On the week, he went 7 for 11, had 3 RBIs, 5 runs scored, and 7 stolen bases. 446 on the season, 34 stolen bases, like I mentioned, 30 runs scored, 11 extra base hits, and only 5 strikeouts. For Quincy there. So good season so far for Cameron. And then Carson Hamblin at Lake Zurich, an uncommitted 2027. Went 9 for 12 last week with 4 walks, 2 doubles, a triple, 4 RBIs, 8 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases. And then he's having a really impressive season as well, hitting 477 on the year, 626 on base percentage. And then his OPS is 1380. 8 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers, 32 runs scored, 16 RBIs, 14 walks, been hit by pitches 12 times, and has 14 stolen bases on the year. So shout out to Carson Hamlin.
Hey, Gavin, we're talking about Trevor Ames, and we're talking about this big offensive lineman for St. Joseph Ogden.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but I know we tossed it around our chat. Josh Haley, the varsity baseball coach at St. Joseph Ogden, reaching the 500 career win milestone. Been at St. Joseph Ogden since 2005. So if we have talked about it or if you mentioned it, I apologize, but huge shout out there, getting to 500. That's quite the milestone.
Well, I think this year too, he got 400 wins at St. Joe Ogden and then 500 total career wins. I can't remember what the other school I saw on the graphic, the other school that it was. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Shout out to him. He's always great to me when I'm out at games and seeing them. So shout out to Coach Haley for sure.
Well, and they're just one of those programs, and since I've, started doing this, they're always going to have a couple like big time prospects. I remember Dalton Parker coming through there, back when I was first starting, and they've had a number of arms too. I feel like that's just kind of been a hotbed for like a ton of like a lot of depth for a smaller school, and then like high caliber arms as well.
Yep.
But they're a team you can almost always pencil in to win, 25, 30 games every single year. It's just like rinse and repeat over there out of that program.